Okay, thanks for tuning in today, everybody. This is Nora Finch of Rock Your Life, and I haven't recorded in a really long time. I am sitting here with Matt Emch.
Emch.
Emch. Okay, and this is going to be interesting. I may just clip this show, so this isn't for real planned as a real show, but at least I wanted to introduce. And he is talking to me from, are you in Ohio?
Yeah. Actually, I'm
Okay.
in a suburb of Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown is actually exactly in the middle of Cleveland and Pittsburgh, an hour from either.
Okay. And I know I can't believe I said Youngstown. I was just talking too fast.
That's
Okay,
okay.
because yeah, Stewartstown. That's what mine was called, Stewartstown, Pennsylvania. Okay, so just a little bit before you start talking about your bio. So really quickly, Matt would be a part of my variety shows because this is totally different from what I normally do. And this would be the second one under my, if you look on my list, it says Rock Your Life Variety Guest Show on YouTube. Those are only my video shows on there. And so we'll get into it more. But the reason that I want to do this, if we do this show together, it will be basically on belief systems. That's what I'm thinking, and mindset. But also, as far as what I'm learning, it sounds like a lot of people are coming forward as far as older in life, and they're like, this shit happened to me. I didn't tell anybody. I was scared. Nobody believes me.
Mhm.
Everybody thinks I'm crazy. So I don't really know my place. I just know that I need to share these types of stories because, again, it comes back to belief systems, but also not necessarily. I think when people hear these sorts of conversations, it's kind of it goes into the whole, what are they not telling us? What's the government's involvement? All that sort of stuff, which I already believe in anyway. What
Absolutely.
they don't disclose to us, and for what reason, and all that sort of stuff. But also, it's okay, so it's also that part, but it's also why the belief systems of what we believe to be true. And so these people coming forward are now sharing. It's, for me, it's not about are they telling the truth or not. It's really a lot of, why are other people seeing these things that we don't? And I have had a lot of my own experiences, nothing like you, of course, but the things of why is that showing a, that was funny.
I don't know. That
We're
was
showing the
strange.
thumbs up. Maybe that's a new thing.
Hey,
Okay,
that's good.
but most of the stuff, that anything out of this world that has been weird to me or growing up, happens to me in my sleep. So that's for another thing,
Mhm.
whether, I mean, all sorts of things I've also that we could talk about, right? But we're not talking about that now because that's for a whole nother show. But that, I think, is the direction I would go, which I do think it's a good idea for a show, even if people are just interested, right? Because
For
people,
sure.
I think it's the proving, it's also proving a lot of people, because of coming from religion, like, is that real? I'm intrigued. And then they start playing with dark side stuff and not knowing what they're doing and
Mhm.
bringing things in. And
Yes.
that's what I wanted to tell you is the message from last night, which um, I'll tell you more about it later so we have more time. But what
Mhm.
I do want to tell you really quickly is that after I had those thoughts, my friend who is a medium, I text her and she's like, "Oh my God, I was walking and an hour ago I was told that you're going to need me today, like to talk." So that's rad.
I'm a firm believer in that. Very much so.
So I'm really curious of what she's going to say, which her specialty, she's a medium. So she does contact people on the other side. And she's told me about some different stuff with my mom. But there's something in there that she is usually provides some sort of value and answer to me when I'm just like, why? Why am I have this happen to me in my sleep or whatever it is? Okay. So now it's your turn. Now. Okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
so real quick, my name is Matt Emch. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. Um, touching on, so what I do real quick, I'm a radio broadcaster. I work for Western Reserve Radio. You can go to westernreserveradio.com. If you go to talent and staff, you can look up my bio. I grew up in Youngstown, went to a Catholic school there, a high school called Youngstown Ursuline High School, considered one of the best private schools in America. I think it's ranked 12th or 13th academically. Athletically, it's one of the best in the state and in the country as well. I played football. I got a full scholarship when I played for Jim Tressel at Youngstown State University on a full scholarship, 1991 through 94. We went to 4 straight 1AA national championships. We won 3 out of 4. I ended up having a lot of knee injuries. It ended my career from moving on to the next level. So just to give you an idea, I've had 14 knee surgeries in my life. I had my knee replaced about 5 months ago. I've had 27 lifetime. Since April of last year, I had 10. And unfortunately, I had to have my right leg below the knee amputated, which actually brought up 3 occurrences where I almost lost my life. In fact, the 3rd time, my heart stopped for over 90 seconds and I had a near-death experience and saw my dead mother and father. So that's something.
It's another show.
Yeah. And it really happened. You get a lot of doctors and scientists that talk about near-death experiences and people seeing family members, and they say it's a dump of chemicals in the brain and just memory. It was as real as you and I here talking right now. So
yeah, I believe.
I've had a lot of the health issues, but thankfully I'm as healthy as I've been in years. I've had things going on. They talk a lot about what you and I had actually briefly mentioned. A lot of proof that sensitivity to supernatural, paranormal, and things travel in families. I'm half Lebanese, half German Irish. My Lebanese side, my mom was the Lebanese. She was 100%. We have sensitivity that has gone on through my mother's side, especially since way before I was born. Just to give you a quick idea, my great aunt, when she lived in Lebanon before she came to Ohio, had a very, very chilling experience with what they call jinn. She was attacked by one, and my great-great-grandfather, basically in a nutshell, had to kick the door down, which caused this thing to dissipate, and he got a piece of the door, which they lived by a river. The door was semi-rotted at the bottom. Piece of the door broke off, went in his leg. 3 days later, he died from gangrene. From
what?
So from that
experience, odds of that.
We moved forward to when I was an infant. And so to this day, I suffer from severe insomnia. I've always had problems sleeping. I've always been hyperactive, thinking wise too. But this goes to my grandmother. I only met my father's mother. All of my other grandparents I never got to meet. Both my grandfathers passed before I was born. My grandmother, when I was an infant, called my mother one day, and this has a lot of meaning in my life. Called my mother to come over for lunch. My mom was physically sick because she was so exhausted that she had not been sleeping, because Matt didn't sleep. She told her mom, my grandmother, "Mom, I can't come. Matt's finally asleep. You don't understand why he never sleeps. Even when he sleeps, his leg shakes." She said, "We were up all night last night." She said, "I just pray to God, please, God, let my son sleep. I don't know what's wrong with him, why he never sleeps." But she said, "Finally, he's sleeping, and I can't come, Mom. I'm so sorry." And my mom had said that everyone thought there was something extra special about my grandmother. Not only that she was living proof of an angel on this earth, the sweetest woman anyone that ever knew, always spoke so highly of her. But my mom always made comments like she thought that there was something different about her, like she had a sensitivity to things, maybe empathic when we look back at it. She said to her that she chuckled and said that Matthew, she said, "He's going to bless your life someday." And then she said to her, "There's something very special about him." An hour later, my grandmother was gone. So that prophecy has stuck with me my entire life. In terms of me, ever since I can remember, I've always noticed detail that no other people notice. I've always had the ability to meet someone, and within less than a minute, I know who that person is. Either they're someone I don't want to know, someone I don't want to be around, somebody I feel that they're a good person. I can just read people. Of the last year, especially since I've been doing, all these interviews and people have found out about my experience and everything. Sorry, I have a sinus infection that I haven't
It's
been able
okay.
to for like a month, but I've had people reach out, especially over the last year, telling me that they believe that I'm an empath. Now, I don't know if I am or not, but researching it and the meaning of it and details of what they supposedly have, there's usually three types. I have the characteristics, if you want to call it that, of all three. So if I wouldn't be surprised. I freak my family out. I've been doing it for years in terms of not only being able to notice details no one else does. I am in no way, shape, or form a psychic or anything. I just have had many times premonition type events happen where I feel like something's going to happen, or I mention someone, or I say something, and it literally within minutes happens, or the next day happens, or, and not just once or twice, where I'll say somebody, I'm thinking about somebody, or I'll say, I wonder how this person's doing. They'll call. And I'm not saying just like, oh, it's happened a few times. I'm talking my entire life this has happened. I have a YouTube channel that I threw my first video up 3 weeks ago. I'm very, very blown away and blessed. I almost have 2,000 subscribers. I just found out yesterday that I've reached. Today I have over 5,000 watch out 50. No, wait, what is it? You need 4,000 to monetize. I'm at 5. So I know everyone's been saying, that takes sometimes years for people, or it never happens. People keep asking how I'm doing it. And what I do is I really don't know. I've just,
Can we do these? I think I need either the hand waving or some sort of device or something to stop people, because
sure.
before we go any further, is okay, I can stop you.
Yeah.
And decide if we want to do the hand waving thing.
For
Okay.
sure.
Since this is all really good, so we might end up actually using this. This will be a teaser. So I did not tell anybody your story. So basically, okay, let's say, okay, so I'm down with everything you just said because I am also an empath as well. But actually, to put a name and a label on it, I think I told you this before, one of my clients. It is okay, people, if you don't find out this till later in life or put a word on it, because you can't really explain it and you just are naturally being yourself. So I'm like, what the hell? I'm just being myself. But the reason that I contacted you, I started with talking about belief systems, is because Mr. Matt here, and let's not confuse, because I'm still learning now to use the word dogman and werewolf. You had this incredible experience when you were 14, right, at a steel mill, and people can go. I will type or whatever the link to where you will talk about your full on story, because we can talk about it if we have time, or I'm sure we will talk about it
I could briefly
right now.
Yeah.
And then also too, the questions that I have, so many different questions, but also too, I really want to know, have you been holding this in like a lot of other people and repressing and all of that, all these years, because you're almost 50 now?
Yeah,
right?
I turned 50 May 21st, actually. So
Okay, and this
I
is
am.
from what, yeah. So I don't know if you just want to go into starting with that, because,
Sure.
and then just a little bit on um what you experience. Well, because they can go listen to the
Right.
details. So whatever we can fit in here amongst the other side notes that we.
Yeah, you know what? I'll just real quick give you a very
Okay.
abridged quick. So just as you said, if anybody wants to see the most detailed interview I have ever given in my life. One of my dear friend, his name is Dominic Joshua Nanokio. If you go to What Lurks Beneath, and Nora will put the link up, I'll give it to you to put it up. He, on October 20th of this past October, dropped and he'll say right at the beginning, he has never done an interview like this. He's got almost 700,000 subscribers. This one went viral. He basically almost doubled. He had 363K subs when he dropped that. He almost has 700 since he dropped it. So it definitely went viral. It was just, I've done almost 20 interviews. I've done like the confessionals and a bunch of the biggest ones out there. This was just kind of the perfect storm. Him and I worked really good together. It is without a doubt the most detailed I've ever done. And as I said before, I have my own YouTube channel. It's called Planet 412. If you go there, my first video is about that. It's not as detailed as Mr. Nanokio's is, but it is a good one. And I also had some other ones that happened. So actually last night I dropped my newest video. There is 4 videos and 4 shorts. There's a short actually that touches on my health issues and all that kind of. So basically the very, very abridged version of this is when I was 14, 1987. It was the summer, second week of June. And ironically, I was just in a documentary this week. And the person asked me, I wonder what the phases of the moon was for that week. We checked. Full moon. So,
of course.
it was really, really interesting. The moon was very full the majority of that week on Wednesday of that week, which this was, I don't remember the exact date, but it was at the end of the week. Starting on Wednesday, it was a full moon and almost full moon the next few days. And that's when this happened. So we used to frequent the old steel mills down in Youngstown, Ohio. Obviously, it's not where many people would go, especially kids, but this was just what we did. We had a friend of ours that lived across the street from there. We'd go down there and check it out and hang out. It was not a safe place. We were there one night and we had a building in the blast furnace area. And if you Google it, you can actually see the exact area. If you watch my video or Mr. Nanokio's video, you'll see the exact building and everything is in there. And we did this. We had this one building we hung out with. We had a real big fire going one night. Long story short, we had a creature that literally almost killed us for all intents and purposes. The older generation, it was a werewolf. It was a real one. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't, we've had some people say, were you guys drinking or taking drugs? No, we were 14 years old. We weren't doing anything like that. We all 4 of us, there's only 2 of us left. Two of them, unfortunately, have passed away. We had our walls of reality broke down, and we found out real quick that things that we were taught in mythology and movies and books like Fangoria, it's not fake. They're really there. There are things that go bump in the night, and I'm not trying to scare people. It just really happened. And this thing was the biggest creature I've ever seen in my life. And it was down on all 4 when it first started. Its eyes were glowing an orange, amber, yellow color. It wasn't eye shine. It was an actual glowing, bright, glowing color. And it stood up on 2 legs and chased us into this building. This event happened. Probably it took about 6 to 7 minutes, which to date, I believe there has never been any recorded attack by a cryptid creature, which is an unknown creature by science, that has ever taken that long. It didn't chase us for that long. It started out, we went in the building, it came in the building, it was looking for us, then found us. It literally almost killed us. I believe that there was divine intervention, because when it was 5-6 feet from me, ready to pounce, a train came by this building. There was train tracks that went right by this blast furnace that was only at the most 8 feet from the building, because they were so close because you're ferrying ingredients in to make steel and ferrying out the steel. So you need these tracks close. This train came by the blast furnace, and we think they saw the fire we had going inside, and the guy laid on the horn, or someone above did it, and it spooked this thing. It stopped. It looked back at the opening. It looked back at me. It did a double take and almost an angry kind of,
Yeah,
and
that's funny.
turned around and left. Um, and that's the very abridged version. And I thought our lives were going to end that day. I likened it to what people in combat might feel like when they're about to die, or somebody unfortunately being murdered. I really felt that was my day.
Okay, so school me on this, or why you would believe. Do you think the difference between Dogman and a werewolf? What how are we defining that? Or you think this was a werewolf, or like, you know what I mean? What, because I'm still learning.
So there is a school of thought that I have found out through the years. The old mythology of a werewolf is a human being that actually transforms into a wolf creature, a man-like wolf. A lot of people think possibly that those are what they call skinwalkers now. In the Native American history, there are beings that are like witch doctors, that are able to transform themselves by going through dark magic type of events, that they can transform themselves into different animalistic human shaped beings. Or there's other thoughts that that's exactly what the mythology is, that people are attacked by some type of specially touched being that becomes a wolf man or woman. If they attack someone, just like the movies, they turn into it. There's also a school of thought that there are ones that are the dogmen, now is the term, that there are two schools of thought. One is natural, that they are just creatures, like there are people with Sasquatch that believe that they're an unknown primate. They believe that these things are just natural, but the one that attacked us that day showed numerous signs of supernatural abilities. And that is also one of the school of thoughts, that there are two kinds. One is supernatural, one is natural, that they are able to kind of either use portals or somehow blink in between that veil that, is there. I'm a firm believer in that people talk about there's like a veil, or humans and these things. Everything on earth has a frequency, rocks, trees, plants,
Mm-hmm.
humans,
Mm-hmm.
animals, and that sometimes we will match the frequency of these other beings, and we will end up in the same space with each other. I sought the counsel of my priest at my church after this happened, fully expecting him not to believe me. He believed me 100% and said people need to understand that there are these things out there that they can't wrap their heads around. And I always say this: I don't begrudge anyone or hate on them for not believing, because if you've never had something like this occur, it's impossible for most people to even open their minds to think that exists. Now, the school is starting to change. You've got a younger generation that are starting to believe in this, and there are more occurrences happening. So it's happening more and more. You're getting also police, ex-federal agents, people that had high positions in the government that have been coming out, not only talking about UFOs and aliens, but about these cryptid creatures. So those are the ones that you really stop and listen, because why would these people that have spent their entire lives highly respected in a profession that depends on detail, and the respect of what they do is immense,
Mm-hmm.
why would they lie and destroy
Mm-hmm.
their careers lying about something like that? So
Okay. Yes. Yes, for sure. Let's back up. The next day, I don't even know how you went to sleep, but you wake up and you're like, what the fuck did I just see? Like, how do you in your mind that next day, what are you thinking? Like, was that real? Did that really happen? Is this a movie? What about all those
You,
questions?
Yeah, well, when it was happening, the thought actually was going through my mind when I'm dreaming.
Yes.
You
Yes.
figure out sometimes while you're dreaming that you're dreaming. Okay, I'm dreaming, and then you usually wake up.
Yeah.
There were multiple moments, and my friends also told me they also had multiple times that they were like, "I'm going to wake up at any minute, any second. I'm going to wake up." I also say this: it was so big, and the moment was so incredible. It looked like it was fake because it was so big, because of what we were seeing. It's like we were watching a movie. And again, the thought kept saying, "I'm going to wake up. I have to be dreaming." We didn't wake up. It was really happening. And again, because there was four of us, we were all able to know, and that really went down. uh, I never had the moment after that night where I thought, well, maybe I was. We knew it happened. So the thought and school of thought of that for decades up until just a couple years ago when I started doing interviews about this was I just unbelievable. I can't believe this really exists. These things are real, and it really opened my mind to a just gigantic school of thought of how much more can there be out there if this exists. There's always discussion about mythology, that there's always some truth to myth. There's also schools of thought out there, and people talk about that movies are purposely made to help break down barriers subconsciously
Mm.
with people, so that
Mhm.
we are able to fully accept once we find out for sure, like Independence Day and other alien movies, because they exist. You have the ex Minister of Defense of Canada, I can't think of his name, retired in the last couple years, has extremely well known and has been going out. I mean, this is someone you have to take, seriously, has been saying on video and interviews on TV that aliens and UFOs are real. We have the United States, Canada, Russia, France, the UK, all over the world have known before Roswell that these things are real, that even this day, some of the biggest countries on earth have relationships with some of these species. So when you have someone like that, he wasn't fired from his job. He sat down after an honorable, decades long career as the Minister of Defense of Canada. And there's video all over the internet to corroborate what I'm talking about. I think his first name is Paul, I think. And it's mind blowing. My priest said to me, Matthew, people need to understand sometimes what happens is these things, this is quoted. He said, these things bleed into our world, and sometimes they see us and we see them. He mentioned exorcisms and demons and people being possessed. He said, you go to Rome at the head of the Catholic Church, and they have their elite team of exorcists that go to the four corners of the globe and deal with the absolute most nightmaric exorcists and exorcisms and possessions you could ever imagine. He said, so I believe you. I'm very sorry you went through that. He said, it's a double-edged sword. You have the negative side of it, that you learn those things are real. And then you have the other side of it where your mind now is open and you're able to know, wow, oh my God, there's this whole other realm, this again, this veil that's in front of us. Like right now, you and I, if we could see and match this frequency of these beings, they're walking through your home as we speak. I'm not trying to spook you out, but they're walking by us every day, and they have the ability somehow to come into our plane. And you think of Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, and there was for decades a government sanctioned group of scientists that studied that place and have unbelievable, untold amounts of information, videos of portals opening, beings coming out of them, ships, all kinds of other things happening. There's a show there still going on where they are filming things. So, there's more of it happening. I actually got the question in another interview just the other day. Why do I think that this is happening more frequently? And I think number one, it's the day and age of social media and technology and the internet, where you have some place like, Maine is the smallest, populated state in America. You have like little towns where there's 1,200 people in it, and you have something happen there where you're able to find out about that all over the world now because of the internet. So that is helping people to understand what the things are going on. And again, because of the younger generation coming up, and they are able to expand their mind better than, unfortunately, the older generation, which was always taught to don't talk about it. You saw something like this, shut up, you're going to get called crazy. I cannot tell you the thousands of people who have reached out to me since I've really started to get known for my event. I have probably about 50 people over 60 who have reached out to me in the last few weeks saying that they were going to take their experience to the grave, that they were fully expecting to die with their secret because they saw my interview. They said that I have now decided that I'm not going to take it to my grave, that I'm going to tell people because you did that. And for me, that is so rewarding to hear that they feel like I can finally say it and I'm not going to be looked at by everyone as I'm crazy. There's always going to be people that can't grasp it. They just can't open their mind. And that's, actually feel kind of bad for them for that. But it is what it is. This stuff happens. It's real. And I decided, with all the health issues and the near death experiences I've had, and only the last one did I ever have anything like that occur. But it made me realize, I could be gone tomorrow, and I'm not gonna take this to the grave with me. So yeah, it's
Okay.
really crazy.
Okay, so that's a good way segue into, at this point in life, on a deeper level, like, why do you think that you experience that? Like, number one, and or number two, like, you're supposed to share. I think that's part of you sharing, but is it really to let, again, humanity know that that this stuff exists? There's a reason. Like, it's not like, oh, now all this fantastical stuff. I mean,
Right.
it's almost like a purpose. Like, that's why it makes me, while Youngstown is known for all of that stuff, like, I don't know that it's just supposed to shock the shit out of us. I think, like, there is still, like, the dark side. Remember how I told you, I feel like, because all these the Exorcist movies scared me forever. I think this is supposed to bring back people to oneness, the light, being spiritual. That's the deepest root. But why do you think this happened to you?
Again, I really do believe, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me about, that they believe that I have sensitivity, and that I just think, like I said before, I think it is familial. I think that some people have it travel through their families. I was on Dr. Russ Jones' show the other night, and he also believes that that he has heard of so many people that are sensitive, that have other family members that have had it. Um,
Well,
I
I'm sorry. Maybe a better way to put it is that happening for you, but what did it do to your life? Like, it impacted your perception. Like, what, I think that might be a good way
Yeah,
to
you
ask.
know what? It did. It opened my eyes. Like, my wife always says to me, Matt, you're one of those people that just takes his time and stops to smell the roses. And what it did for me is it made me not only realize that these types of things are real, it made me, I don't stare at my phone all the time. I always tell people, don't stop looking down. Stop always looking down. Stop, look around, look up. I people watch. I look around me, and that's another reason I notice detail. But I do believe it was in a way a gift that if I am able to help people expand their mind and start to realize that there is more to this world than just waking up day in, day out, wake up, go to work, come home, have dinner, go to bed, blah, 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 Groundhog Day. There really is more to it than that.
But I've always thought that though, too.
Yeah. And some of us, for some reason, and I don't have an answer for why some of us are more sensitive and some of us have abilities. So I had an experience happen to me this past spring in Beaver Creek State Park in Ohio. I had a guy, his name's Johnny Freeman. You can look him up on Facebook. Seeing Through the Veil, I believe, is their podcast on Facebook. He walked up to me. I went to my first ever Bigfoot conference. I never went to any cryptid conference in my life. I met a guy named Ernie Davio, who had one of the most, if not the most incredible Bigfoot experiences that I believe really happened. When you have something happen to you like I did, there's certain cues that you look for when you hear people talk about their stories. And I call real ones experiences. And then you hear the cringeworthy kind of, oh my God, how are these people saying this? And it's so bad. There's some people I hear things and cues I grab that I'm like, wow, that's intriguing. I believe them. So I met this Ernie Davio and we met and he lives down in the Cincinnati area of Ohio. And we met at this place the night before, and he took me to this campsite where everyone that was in, he was speaking at this conference, and I met all these people. And this psychic, Johnny Freeman, walked up to me. I'd never met him in my life. Walked up to me, grabbed my arm, which, I'm from Youngstown. You don't just grab some guy's arm from Youngstown, Ohio. I'm like, whoa, bro, slow your roll. Why are you grabbing me? He apologized. He said who he was, and he's a psychic. And he said, I've never seen someone with the aura that you have. And he said, I want you to know there's a trail. And he pointed. And he said, you need to go up this trail. Something is just telling me you have to go up there. And I had just had my left knee replaced a month and a half before that. I lost my leg last April. Like I said, I pulled up my pant leg. I'm like, look, I have a prosthetic. I had crutches. I'm like, I was using one at the time. I said, I'm not going up any trail. And he said, I'm just telling you what I am getting. You do with it what you want. I thought about it for 20 minutes and I decided, after everything that's happened to me, I'm going.
Yeah,
and
fuck it.
it was very
Yeah,
I
yeah,
went.
fuck it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was hard. It was hard, and I was in horrific pain, and I suffered, and it took me 30, 40 minutes to get up there. And basically, long story short, on my second video is about that experience. I did an EVP. I didn't see anything, but I used my phone before I went back down, and I just said, I'm going to do what I see on all these shows, these ghost shows. And I said, why not? Just give it a try. And because everything got quiet, it got real strange. And I did the CVP, and there is basically this. There's a grunt that I've had people like the famous Mr. Ron Moorhead, who did the Sierra sounds, which is the most famous recordings of Bigfoot ever made in history. I'm friends with him. I met him at this conference I went to in Dallas, Fort Worth in September. He listened to it 3 times and he said, you got something there, Matt. I said, so is that what you think that is? He said, yeah, pretty much. And I've had many other people who have heard them. And this, when I did Dr. Russ Jones' show just a couple of days ago, his partner Brad, who they were very aware of Beaver Creek State Park. It's famous for Bigfoot sightings and other paranormal events. And they had gone there, he said, in 2007. He has a 45-minute long recording of whoops and very similar sounds from the famous Sierra sounds that Ron Moore had made. I mean, you could hear the whoops and the noises, and it is very primate, not a monkey. It was very loud, and he had 45 minutes. He played it on my video for maybe a minute and a half, and it was like, whoa. So, to have him back that up, and then the grunt is, it's so obviously not me. I didn't hear this stuff with my own ears. I only heard it on the recording. So there was a grunt, and then there was 2 sets of 4 wood knocks, and the last one was almost like an answer to what a question I had asked. I said, what's your name and how many of you are there? And there were, not with my own ears, but on the recording, 4 wood knocks. So it was really incredible. And I had some other stuff happen the next day. I went back by myself, and everything's on the video. But again, rewinding back to why, I just think some of us are born with the ability that we are more sensitive. And you saying that you believe you're an empath, and you and I in some of our discussions just in text with each other, I think that's why we've been, for the interview and for discussion, we're attracted to each other in that manner, because I believe people that have sensitivities to things otherworldly just are drawn to each other because of that. And we can sense others like us. I don't know why we're chosen for that. I would love to know. Maybe we won't find out till our time comes. But I also know for a fact that when our physical time comes, after nearly dying and seeing my parents that are gone, I know that there's something after this.
Well, let's because I gotta get ready to maybe 15 more minutes.
We can do
Again,
another one as well.
yeah, we can talk about how about though right now, just to let people know, what is your goal moving forward? That's another thing, because we already mentioned you can plug your other show. What is your goal? And I guess more so, maybe let's finish off with that, and then I can talk about my thing a little bit.
Sure.
And I want you to hear.
Yeah, of course. My ultimate goal is to be able to help, first and foremost, the research of these otherworldly beings and things that are going on. To hopefully at least help people's minds expand and realize that there is, like I just said, more to life than that daily grind, that Groundhog Day that everyone feels every morning when they get up. That there is something after this life on Earth goes. It's not black. It's not over. There's other things, and I have been opened up to, as I said, I've been contacted by thousands of people, and the majority have all been positive. And if I could at least help just one person, which I've definitely helped more now by their messages, who have had events themselves or are confused about things that have been going on in their lives, because I had no idea about some specifics until recently. I've been able to, with help of others, realize that, some of us just have abilities that others don't. And I've been pointed in some directions. If I can help some people realize more about what's going on with them, and like I said, expand their minds and realize that there is more out there, then that is fabulous. I would love for the channel to just keep growing the way it's growing, so that I could get my message out to more people. And also, at the end of the day, when you see other videos I've done, like I'm narrating stories I get sent to me from other people, I really am very passionate about what I'm doing, but it's also entertainment too. So, my question is always, do you believe? At the end of my videos, it's up to you to believe what's being said. But I just want to open people's minds, and I hope that I'm able to touch some people in a positive light.
Okay, and then as far as the channel goes, though, are you? Because I was starting to listen to the one from last night. you're not just going to narrate stuff. Like, are you going to have other things on there? Maybe like, or guess, or like something else. That's what I was going to say. Cause all these, there's so many channels out
Right.
there. There's so many
Yeah.
different things. Like, how are you gonna, or maybe talk about more of, I think it'd be good if you talked about more of your experiences through life and
Yeah.
living as you, and also living as a sports broadcaster. Cause it's not like this, this world is, I don't want to say accepted, but like you can't just in the break room, not that you have a break room, but you know what I mean? This isn't like common conversation that everybody
No,
jumps. I
no.
mean, I think that would be good for you to be like, you know, talking about that and what your friends, you know, are saying.
For sure. It's definitely a niche that is smaller. It's not one of the more widely recognized. And the thing I'm happy about is I have so many different pieces of my pie, so to speak. So I have that paranormal side that the channel is mostly about, but I'm bringing in, I've already brought in a bunch of people from the handicapped or amputee world that is also coming in from there. Then what you just mentioned, the sports world. So I have all these different areas that I'm bringing in, that I'm trying to connect all of them together, and then even from the people that only are here for this paranormal side, they can also branch out and hopefully learn from other areas as well. Um, I am going to be doing other formats. So as the channel has grown, I've had to wait, as I said, for it to be reaching the monetization area. So now I'm going to be able to do like live streams. I am going to have guests on. I just wanted to wait a little longer. So I'm going to be having the stories to narrate. I'm going to be having the format that I did when I released my newest video last night, and the first two live streams, guests. So it's going to have every kind you could imagine.
Okay, yeah, because you literally just started,
Right.
right? Okay, sounds good. Yeah, because I wasn't sure where it was going with that. And then when I was hearing the narrations, I'm like, is he telling other people's stories? Like, it just led me to believe, like, I wasn't sure what the channel was going to be about. So it's
Yeah.
good to let people know.
Thank you.
Mhm. And what else with that? Okay, so we can talk more about that. Anything else? Any other finals? Getting a hold of you. All the contact information is on your.
Yeah, yeah, and like I had said, so if you look on my YouTube channel at Planet 412, it will tell you how you can reach me, and I also, as I said, so being an amputee, I've had people reach out to me, would I be willing, completely with the paranormal stuff on nothing to do with it. Would you be willing to talk to people just about, what's happened to you with your health, and about being able to live through all those 28 or 27 surgeries, and the near death experiences, and losing your leg, and how have you been able to cope? And, I fully, accepted it. And I'm even able to joke about things now. That is an unbelievably difficult thing to have happen to you, is lose a limb, and all of the
Mhm.
things. So I've had some people reach out and say, would you be able to, speak and do inspirational speaking? Or other people have already asked me to start doing narrations for their channel. If you go to Star Fox Media, a kid named Kenny Thibodeau has a channel there. I'm narrating for him. And yeah, so I just, all the explanations are in the description on my YouTube channel. Um, and I just want to be able to touch as many people as I can. And one of the newest videos that's going to be coming out, I'm planning actually on recording it this Sunday, is the meaning. Everyone keeps saying, what is the meaning of your channel? Well, as I've been touching on all this dark, scary stuff, the meaning of my channel is actually very uplifting. It's very spiritual. It's also angelically connected. So my meaning of my channel is going to be completely on the light side of Planet 412. So
Okay. I'm excited for that. Okay,
Okay.
lastly, let's finish with the story because I'm just going to go ahead and include it and record it.
Sure.
So I want to know your, I just want to know what you think after you hear